Hey y'all, it's episode 2 of In My Opinion, and it's your girl just call me CJ. And
what's up, y'all? It's Mark.
all right, so today we're gonna be talking about education versus entrepreneurship. The first one we really gonna be talking about, I wanna just say about mental health awareness, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I feel like in the Black community, we don't take mental health very seriously. I have a sibling who suffers from a mental health illness, and it's just a lot. And a lot of people really just don't understand that concept of, checking in on them, them having to take their meds, and beyond the scope of, we could just pray about it and it's going to be okay.
Right. I mean, I'm not a professional or anything, but I completely agree. Growing up in church, everybody's just like, if something wrong, just pray about it. But I think it's okay, to go see a health professional about your mental health. It's all right to talk to somebody about it. We don't have to hold everything in. Even for guys, I know a lot of times we hold stuff in and we just kind of pack it down. But it is okay. You are not less of a person if you choose to go see somebody that is a professional and that knows how to help you.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I think for sure. Like I said, a lot of my family members, well, not going to say I'm family members, but a lot of people, when they find out the situation, they're just like, oh, well, you sure he should be doing that? Are you sure they should be doing that? It's like, yes. I'm positive, y'all not dealing with this person who is going through this. And it's an all-day thing, And I mean, all-day thing, it's constant. It's a life issue. You constantly got to be there supporting that person.
Yeah, really, you do. I mean, I just think for something like that, like you said, you got somebody in your family that suffers from it. If you, reach out to just check on them, maybe 2 times a day, I'm sure that'll help. And just to kind of support them so that they don't feel like they're close to the edge or anything. Yeah,
definitely. And with that being said, that's kind of brings us into our segue of our topic for the day. So mental health kind of goes into when you're at school or when you're trying to run a business.
Right. It really does. I mean, because I think you have to be able to have the balance of, first off, the mindset and the wherewithal to understand what it is that you want to do. So if you want to go to school, you got to understand, you got to balance all of this. And then if you want to start a business, what is that really going to entail? Because on the surface, both sound great. Oh, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kick it. I'm going to go to school. And then I'm going to start a business. I'm going to make my own schedule. I'm going to work. I'm going to make all of this money. But you don't understand really the balance sometimes that both comes with.
Yeah. All right. So I got a question for you. So Marquise, we got degrees, right?
Right.
So do you think that your degree is helping you or harming you as far as education? So you think that your education has boosted you to the networking levels that you need, or you feel like, because you got a business, a bounce house.
Right.
You and your family and some other people, y'all have a bounce house business. And it's do you feel like that's something that has boosted you because you got that academic credentials, or you feel like you didn't need to go to school, you could have did this on your own?
I mean, I think so right now, because it is a bounce house business and my degree was in sports management, I think it kind of both. So the best way I can explain it and how I explain it to everybody is my sport management degree is pretty much a business degree just with a sports background. Mm-hmm. So I have the business credentials essentially from the academic standpoints, and it just helps me. It just kind of was more so filtered and focused on sports. But I do think, I'm not going to deny or think that my degree was worthless, because I think at the end of the day, my thing is, I feel like we should go get educated in a higher learning place whether a certificate or if it is a 4-year degree or even an associate's degree. So I think that is, it's helpful. But no, I don't think it's hindering me. I definitely think it helps, though.
Okay. So we were talking, and I brought that question up because I got people who, and I kind of posted on Instagram before, I got people in my family who really downplay me because I have a degree.
Right.
So they oh, you got a degree? Oh, well, you can't pass that down to your kids. You can't take that piece of paper and pass it down. Right. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. But, that was something I do. Because I don't believe school is for everybody. I'm 100% with, hey, whatever you're going to do it for you. That's fine. And, I'm proud of anybody who accomplished whatever they're going to accomplish and get their goals. I don't hold that above them. It's just I feel like sometimes like my degrees, they just feel like I'm better than them. Like I have this whole aura that if you have a degree and you're around other people, they put you in a box like, oh, you're closed-minded. You don't really know how to think outside just going to work and working for somebody. And I also think that we have this perspective, especially for like social media, that everybody gonna be rich.
Right. Because social media a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, everybody's like, oh, I'm not sleeping. I'm grinding, I'm working, and I'm not going to sleep until I get rich. When I get rich is when I'm going to sleep. I think that's a fallacy. Like, everybody is not going to be rich. Everything that you see on social media is not real. But for your family standpoint with your degree, I mean, no, you can't take that and pass it down to your kids. But what you can do is you can say, all right, I did this educationally. And I even know some people, they parent and they're like, it's not okay. I don't expect anything less from you but a master's. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to graduate from high school and you're going to do that. Then you're going to go get a bachelor's degree. You're going to get a master's. Now, if you want to get a PhD, that's up to you. But you're at least going to school to get a master's. So you can't pass it down. But I think it's a good example for the kids that do want to go to college and get in. And plus, even now in school, it's a lot easier for you to transition if there's somebody in your family that went before you. So, like, my mom graduated from Notre Dame College too. Oh, okay. And then I went and I graduated from there as well. And now my not youngest sister, but my second young sister, she's getting ready to go to college. And when she was filling out applications, they wanted to know who else in your family graduated and had a degree and where they went. So it definitely does help, especially when you apply, and it even helps get money off or whatever.
So when we're talking about the degree aspect, so in the education point, my thing is, alongside of education, is just that I don't think that we're financially literate about the education system. Because a lot of people be like, oh, so you going to go to school and do this, but you going to have all these loans. And a lot of people do, because they take out these loans and they get in debt. They don't know like really what's happening. But it's like, no, you don't have to take all them loans out. You don't have to be in debt. But nobody is talking to, especially black and brown people, about how to lessen that student loan balance when they graduate.
Yeah, so for me, the route that I took was when I first graduated from graduated from high school, I went to a community college, I went to Tri-C.
Right.
And I think that's a lot financially feasible if you go get like your just general education requirements out the way. You go do that, and then you go to college because it's a lot cheaper. Community college is, I want to say, like maybe 3 times less than one class than it is compared to going to a Notre Dame or whatever. Okay. But I think that definitely, and I was reading this article the other day when we were talking about doing this. Mm-hmm. They say most of the student loan debt comes from students applying to schools out of state. Yeah. So you get a certain amount if you live in the state of Ohio, but then if I want to go to school in Alabama, because I'm not from that state, they charge extra. So I think that it is good to know if, hey, I want to go to an HBCU or whatever, I need to know, all right, this is what I'm paying compared to an HBCU here compared to that one there. So I think we definitely, a lot of us, we all need to, just finances in general, we just need to be more open and talk about it and not just be so secretive about that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I find that very funny that you just even said that. So I was reading an article today as we were prepping for this conversation. So we know that black women they're the top degree owners. Yeah. They are the top degree owners, and they're the top entrepreneurs as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so black women in America are the top, yes. We are the top degree earners in America on top of entrepreneurship. But it was saying that it doesn't close our wealth gap.
Why not?
Because a lot of black women, once they get a degree and whatnot, they don't get married. So that gap between a two-income household doesn't ever become obtained. They are the most unmarried people.
Hey, that's a different topic.
I know. We're going to come back to that. But you just asked me why. That's why I said what I said. And I just kept going.
Okay, it makes sense just based off of the standpoint of men and women. And, yeah, we're not going to. That's another episode.
That's another episode.
But, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because for me, I think one of the biggest deals for me when the past election was to get somebody like Kamala Harris in office, because it said that black women have the highest degrees, and she also has one of, like, don't quote me, but might be the most educated vice president
Yes, she is.
Yes, that's in office right now, and she's a black woman. So I just felt like that was a something that I had to get behind, just so people can see, like, especially for young girls, like, hey, you could be vice president, and because you want to go get a degree, it will eventually pay off for you. So okay. I definitely like that.
So, with that being said, do you think it's better for us as a community, so black and brown people,
right? Do
you think it's better for us to become academically sound, so go to college, get a degree, go and work for somebody, or do you feel like we should become entrepreneurs? Because I'm saying this because the debt to income ratio of somebody who graduates, so you go to school for 4 years, and the likelihood of you graduating and making a job, getting a job in your field and making $40,000, but you still in debt $40,000, so you pretty much zero. And they expect you to pay that money back in 6 months.
Right. I think so. All right, boom. So look at it like this: we don't necessarily have to go get a 4-year degree. There are other options that are available for us to be able to become entrepreneurs. So I say that to say I think both needs to be merged together. So whatever it is that we are skilled or gifted at, let's find a way for us to be able to turn that into entrepreneurship, into a business, and then go to school and learn for that. So, and then again, when the other day I was reading another article, and it's a bunch of like startup businesses, and it's like, it says they focus on training students from K through 12 on entrepreneurship, and the programs pretty much just teach them at a young age. So you're kind of like when we were at Brush, the Excel Tech program. Yeah. So instead of it just going into a particular, let's say, oh, I want to be a chef or this, it focuses on, and they take them and shows them how to be entrepreneurs. So I think that if we can learn what it is that we're good at, merge the two together, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go get a 4-year degree, get like a certificate. So if you are a kid and you like landscaping, so go to like maybe in high school, find something for programs for youth volunteer in order for you to do that. And then after you graduate, go get a certificate, work and shadow somebody that is that's an entrepreneur doing it as a landscaper. And I think that's a way, if we could just merge both together and be able to do it like that. Because I think a lot of times we get hooked up on the thought of, oh, I got to go away to school, I got to go in debt, and I got to do this. Because I still do think education is powerful for us. We do need to learn something beyond just what it is that we saw every day for 4 years growing up in high school.
Do you think that black people become more cultured when they become educated, or do you feel like it's a facade? Well, you're saying yes. So
no, I think we do become so the biggest thing for me is in college, I loved your sociology classes, your psychology classes, your urban studies, your humanities classes. And I like those. I say psychology. Yeah. Psychology. I like those because a lot of times those classes have big, round discussions. So I have my point of view on the topic, but then somebody that's sitting next to me, somebody behind me, they all have different point of views. So I think it is good for us to be able to hear what somebody else thinks about the topic, what somebody else has said about the topic, and then even compare to what I believe that the professor or the teacher at the time has to say about the topic.
Okay. So my point, I think, with me personally is that, so I'm a big fan of education, of course, I just love learning. I feel like every time I ingest something, it's like, boom, how can I apply this to my real life? Right. And I feel like right now, because I'm in education as a profession, like I'm an educator, do you think our youth, black and brown, because I'm going to keep hitting on that target area, do you think our youth are being able to be taught right? Because I work in education, and I don't think that our black and brown children I don't think they get to really get exposed to a lot of things that they should be exposed to. And then when I talk about standardized testing, especially, they ask my kids who are living in an urban area, like, different stuff, like, what's a slipper or what's a hanger? And it's like, a slipper to them, it's like, they don't know what that means. Right. They like, what's a slipper? It's a house shoe. You know what I'm saying? But, like, that's not the lingo that they use in order to, get them to where they need to be. So we see them that they're failing. But in other hands, like if I'm talking to my students and I'm telling them, like, you know, what's this, what's that, they can understand. So what do you think about relevance in education? Like, should everything be tied to real world experience, or should you just be given different avenues of information to open up their brain?
I think it should be both. You should give them different avenues of information to open up their brain, but you should definitely make it relevant to the way that we talk and how we do. Because the way we talk is completely different compared to our other counterparts, the way that they talk. So, like you said, the slipper. I couldn't think of a word to say or whatever. But no, so you said slipper. So, but if you say to us, we say house shoes. Or like I was talking to my dad the other day, he had some house shoes. He was like, oh, we called them moccasins. Like, so we all know what the house shoes are compared to a slipper. So I'm saying all that to say it should be relevant to how it is that we talk and what it is that we do. And yeah, expose them to new stuff to open up their minds, because I think it's a good, and I think it is a teaching moment that house shoes can be called slippers or moccasins or whatever. So I think that's definitely good. But I don't want to really try and touch on that and say, what the kids are being taught in school is kind of, because I'm not there with you every day. I can just kind of see like the product of what it is when they're in the day to day. Like if I'm in the mall walking around, you doing this or doing that. I don't want to say the education is failing them, because I know it's a whole bunch of things behind.
I don't want to say education is failing them.
You say education is failing them. I don't want to say it just because I'm not in. You have the right to say it, but I'm just like, we can definitely do better though. We can definitely do better. And I think so. I think it also depends on the community that you grow up in. I don't understand why, and you could touch on this better, why like a CMSD school, where there are a lot of teachers that live out in Twinsburg that are teaching. Because for me, when I was still in college, I volunteered at Cleveland Heights. And most of the teachers either graduated from Heights, lived in the Heights, or just a part of the community. Same thing with Brush. A bunch of the teachers lived in the community, went to Brush, and it's not even black or white. They just lived in the community, and they know what's going on and how everything is relevant right now. So what you think about that?
I agree with you. I mean, this is a different topic as well. I believe police officers as well as teachers should live in the community that they work in. Right. Because if you're going to teach or you're going to build a relationship with somebody, how can I tell you something about what's going on? And I've never even been in that space. I don't see what you're going through on a day-to-day. I don't understand the community that you're in. So when I lived in Cleveland Heights, because I went to Boulevard in Roxborough, like we had a lot of Jewish kids in our community. So I understood by Mitzvah Yom Kippur. I knew why we were getting out of school for that. Because I was around that. I was exposed to that, because that's the community that I lived in. I lived around other Jewish kids, and they were explaining to me, this is why we do that, and a bat mitzvah versus if a girl is having one, they're different. So I understood that, because that was where I grew up in that community. And I know I kind of share this with y'all a little bit. They always make fun of me because they all went to Brush, and I transferred from Lutheran. I said, I hated Brush. I hated it. And it wasn't that I really hated it, and I just now recently found the proper words. It was a culture shock for me. It was a culture shock for me to come from Lutheran East, where it was 2 floors, 90 kids, to being at Brush. And Lutheran East was all black. We had like one white kid there.
It was all black too. It was like 70% of us compared to 30.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, when we were there, no, it wasn't.
It was. When we was there, yeah, because when my aunt graduated in 2003, I want to say it was like 60-40 more everybody else. But by the time we got there in like 2007, it was definitely, I would say like 70% to 30%.
Well, for me, it was like, what the heck is going on? It's 4 floors. I was like, oh my goodness, this school is huge, and it was a culture shock. And I didn't spend very much time in the community. Of course, until I met y'all. Later on, when I understood, like, okay, this is Lynn Starfleet, Glenn Hurst, this is what it's about. Right. But when I was just there, I was sitting outside like, these kids don't even come outside and play. And it's like, at Cleveland Heights, all my friends, even though I lived on the main street, they was always over my house. So when I got there, it was such a big culture shock. And education-wise...
Hey, but you also lived over there by the old people, though. See, by where we grew up, we was all outside. You lived over there by the old people, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but so, again, back to the education aspect, but when I went to Lutheran East from Brush, I was totally prepared. Like, work wasn't hard.
Right.
So my educational experience coming from Lutheranese, I was like, oh, this what y'all want me to do? Like, or Othello in a week? That's easy because we had to write a paper in 7th grade, like the Passion of the Christ versus the Bible scripture in a 10-page comparison.
Right.
So I was like, oh, well, this is what y'all want me to do? I could read a book. That's nothing. But going back to, like, you know, what we were saying, the entrepreneur aspect, I don't think people understand how much work it is.
Right.
People always say, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to own my own business. I want to do this. It's like, but at the same time, you don't understand how much work. So I have a couple businesses that we're trying to get off the ground. And
what's your business?
We got Natural on the Go, me and Bettina. So that's like a hair care company business where
some.
they Uber
I need
to
some
you.
for my hair.
Okay. So we got My Organics. We love it. We love it there. That, and then we have some other things, a building branch. You know, it's a family business that we're doing. And to get that business off the ground,
right.
And again, I'm educated. Right. It's way harder than anything I have done.
Right.
Like finding the funding, structuring a business plan, targeting a demographic of people, getting a building, right. Trying to get a credit line with a bank without having a business credit line, right. And them telling you like, oh, well, actually
and then
you can't.
They also go off of your own personal credit,
exactly,
for your business credit too.
Exactly. So, how was your experience? You know, because y'all have a business that's up and running.
So we are taking over an existing business, but it's still kind of the same because the way that they did it before us is completely different to how we do it now. Mm-hmm. And I think, it is hard. It's long day. So like I will have to wake up. We have an event. I wake up at about, let's say they want it at 8:00. So that means you have to get to the place, our warehouse where everything is stored. So that means I have to wake up like 6:30, kind of get yourself together because you can't just go up to somebody's house because most of the people that you're going to don't look like you. Yeah. So you at least want to be presentable. So let's say I'm up by 6:30. I got to be at the warehouse by 7:30. Give us about 30 minutes to pack up, and then we have to go drop it off.
Okay.
So right after that, let's say we have another one. So let's say we have 2 events. So we, boom, going to do that. Then after we're done, spend about the first half of the early morning taking care of that. Then I have to go work my other job where I'm working from like pretty much all day because I'm not in a position yet where the side business is paying the bills. So I still got to keep going to that one because that one's paying for the bills, keep the lights on and everything. Right. So then from there, I'm going to work, and I'm working with people who they don't necessarily know what I'm doing, and their main thing is, I got to focus all my attention, time, and energy on here. By the time I get there at 11 o'clock, it's like this is half my day, and I got to keep going until 8, 9 o'clock. And then after that, then I have to, the day just starts all over again from like Friday to Sunday, depending on how many events. But yeah, it's hard. It definitely is hard. And I think both college and entrepreneurship is both hard. And I think we all need to understand that it takes time and it takes effort and it's not easy. It all looks great on the surface, but it's something that you got to build up to get. Because if you want to do well in college, you got to put time into it. If you want to be a great business owner, you got to put time into it. And it's going to be long. It's not easy. I don't care. It is not easy at all. At all. Yeah. And then, so like going back where you was asking about the kids and in school and if you think education is relevant. And so my opinion is I think if everybody, let's say your teachers, your police officers and all of that were in your community and these kids grow up in this community, I think if somebody at 10 years old be like, I want to start a business, I think that's great. So now you have everybody in this community that's rooting for you, and then you could turn around, go to school, learn something, learn education, learn something about entrepreneurship, and then build that company in your own community. So now it's like you learn something and you got all of these people that are rooting for you in the academic field to help you and to show you and to guide you. And if you do it in a community, not only are you learning something for your own personal business, but you're also learning the academics and stuff behind it. Okay. To be completely honest.
So, do you think that we as Black people are taught entrepreneurship I was kind of having a conversation with our engineer earlier,
Right.
and we're talking about entrepreneurship on the aspect of we have these great talents, and we talk like, oh, we just going, I know how to cook, so I'm about to just make this great food, or I know how to bake really well, or I know how to do all these things, but we don't have everything to go with it because we're not taught like customer service.
Right.
Example, like I know a place, they got some banging food, but they customer service suck.
Right.
And it's like, man, like I don't want to not go there anymore because I'm really into supporting minority businesses. But in the same space, it's like, dang, like y'all just gonna have me out here for 2 hours,
Right.
waiting for my food.
So, and then again, main thing that goes with college and entrepreneurship, with black people, it's okay for us to ask help. It's okay for us to, in college, to ask. Even if it's a white counterpart, it is okay for us to ask for help. You got to go to a counselor in college. You got to go to a tutor. You got to ask, hey, I don't necessarily know this field. I'm not, my thing that I'm bringing to this business is, let's say, a restaurant. I'm going to cook the food. And then I'm hiring you to focus on the customer service aspect of it. So I think it is good for us to be able to ask for help. And you're going to have to ask for help in both fields and not just go about it and do it by yourself, especially if you try to do something big. Because I've had to ask for help countless number of times. A lot of times it's pride when I'm in school. I don't want to go to your office. I just want to get it. Why can't I get it right now? But you got to get over there. You got to ask. You got to ask for help. You got to ask, all right. So I've been trying to do it in my business. I've been trying to do it like this. What's a different way? And a lot of times when you just share something with somebody else, they'll be like, oh, this is what you should be doing. And you never think about it because you're just always sometimes just so honed in because this is what I want to do. And then again, it ties back to the education. If you are educated and you see things in a different way, all right, boom. So instead of me just being blinded and just looking right here, if I know something, learn something, see what somebody else did before me, okay, so now I realize I got all of this open to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I said, because I'm big on people following their own dream. Like I said, right. I took education as my route. That was my thing. And going to work as a 9 to 5
sucks.
Does it? See, and that's the thing.
Well, I'm not really a 9 to 5. I'm 11 to 8.
So, so for me, like, I don't have a problem with this. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, boom, I get up, I'm going to work. I know when my paycheck is coming. I know how much I'm going to get. I know that I'm going to be very consistent on what I'm doing. Right. While when you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to know some days, especially when you first start out, you don't know how your business is going to do. Yeah. So I just feel like us as a black people, we really need to take the time to do some research and share with each other instead of being crabs in a bucket on either end. Like if I'm educationally sound and this is what you want to do, here's the scholarships you need to do. Like my little brother Colin, he man, the boy's smart. The boy is the smartest kid I ever met. He got like a 4.4, but in the same aspect, we trying to get him not to have student loans. We trying to hit. So it's like, no, do I need you to write all 6 of these scholarship essays?
Right,
so we don't. Yeah, right. And that way, like it's nothing wrong with you using a weakness for a strength. Right. Like I'm dyslexic and I'm gonna have ADHD.
Are you? Or are you just making stuff up?
No, I have one. I promise you.
Clinically diagnosed.
I am clinically diagnosed. I have a 504 plan from college for my clinic diagnosis. Okay. That I am dyslexic. No, I don't. I don't. I found some other ways. I'm not really a pill person. Okay. But so with that being said, like,
no, I got you. But I and this is my thing because I work at. I don't necessarily work with kids, but my job has hired a lot of young people. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for us to say, stop being crabs in the barrel. And I'm not saying that this is wrong.
Right.
It's easy for us to say that, but then a lot of times the younger kids don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. So for me today, I was working with this young kid and they are so strong in their wrong conviction, so convicted by it.
Strong and wrong?
You are so wrong, but you so sure about how wrong you are right now. So, I mean, I just think that we have to find a way. We got to be patient. It's easy for us to say, don't have a crab in a barrel, but be patient. They're not going to listen. They're not going to want to listen, but you just got to go for it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we are at our time right now. So if you want to, if you haven't seen this on the live, please share the link at
Hey,
on
tag
YouTube.
me in your live too, because I don't really be getting on IG all like that.
All right, so we're gonna tag them the link. We're gonna have this video up. If you guys ain't got any comments, questions, or concern, you can hit me up at just call me CJ_.
I don't know, just tag me, man.
Okay, so we're just gonna tag Marquise. Bye.